Hi, I'm Mike Swanson. Welcome to today's webinar. This is the AdvoTrac Case Expense Funding Service, which is provided by Advocate Capital. And today we're going to talk about kind of a features and benefits show. It's not our normal approach to working with prospective clients. We normally get to know them for a while, learn their situation, learn about their goals, and then customize our service to help them achieve their goals. But today, by popular demand, we've been asked to put together a webinar like this to walk through and do a deep dive into the AdvoTrac Case Expense Funding Service. So we've been doing this, and AdvoTrac has been in existence and up and running 24/7 since 1999. We processed millions of transactions a year for hundreds of thousands of cases, and we're going to review all the many benefits that our clients enjoy from being our customer. First, we have a disclaimer. This presentation is not designed to be tax or legal or accounting advice. Be sure to consult with your tax advisors or professionals if you're going to make a change or take some other action. So I'm Mike Swanson. I am 1/3 of the credit committee, president and CEO of Advocate Capital. I'm also the author of How David Beats Goliath. That's the book I wrote. It's the only finance book ever published to help plaintiff lawyers. It's part of our educational process here at Advocate. We believe that a rising tide lifts all boats. So we try to educate our entire industry about what options they have as far as financing. So it's the only book ever published to help plaintiff lawyers on financial matters. And if you're watching this webinar, I'd be happy to send you an autographed copy. Just message me. My email address will be on display at the end and probably below this video once we publish it. This will be published as a video, and you'll be sent a link. So if you need to drop out early, or those of you who weren't able to attend, if anybody who registered will get a link. So we're going to do a deep dive in a few minutes. We're going to spend a lot of time today hearing from our special guest, Billie Hardison. Hello, Billie. We can see you. Hi.
Hi, Mike.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. Before I throw to Billie, though, we're going to talk a little bit more about some background information. So we are presently serving about 470 law firms nationwide. We're funding over 75,000 cases, and that's being done 24/7, round the clock. And we'll spend time touring AdvoTrac, but what really matters is not the software so much. It is software that we use to run our business. We make the data available to clients. What really matters is the team. So we are unusual that we are a team of 43 people who, none of us are lawyers, but we're all Seventh Amendment advocates. And so we believe in what plaintiff lawyers do. That's why we're doing this. So it's fun to be in a profitable winning team, but what's even better is helping people like you, plaintiff lawyers, do what you do even better. We get to help people who help people, and that really makes it all worth it. So we're huge Seventh Amendment advocates, and I'm going to share with you a couple of resources from our website today. If this is your first time hearing about us, this is going to be a detailed deep dive. It might take 40 minutes or so. So if you want to catch up later again, if you go to advocatecapital.com, our website, you click on the video link. At the top of that page, you'll see these 4 videos, and they're excellent short recap videos that will give you both an overview of AdvoTrac Case Expense Funding Service, but more information about us. It'll talk about our value proposition, economically speaking, and then also talk about the Advocate Flex line. So I wanted to point out that resource to you. Also, if you, we don't get a lot into how it works today, so this is not going to be kind of a detailed process overview. If you want more information on that, again, go to our website, Case Expense Financing, and click on the How It Links. The How It Works link, sorry. And here you'll see kind of a flow chart of all the various steps in the process. The good news is we do all the hard work for you, so you don't have to. But if you have detailed questions about flow of funds, things like that, that again is on our website, products and services, case expense funding, and how it works. But in a nutshell, the way our product works is pretty simple in concept. First, we set up a line of credit for a law firm, just like a bank would do, and then we track that line of credit using AdvoTrac case by case. The purpose is that it enables our clients to pass the borrowing costs through to the cases. So the net cost of borrowing for our clients is 0 for the cases on which they're successful. Not everyone, no law firm wins every case, right? So there is some net residual cost, but that's usually less than 1% per year for our client law firms. And we customize that approach then to help them achieve their goals, whatever they might be. So when you choose the AdvoTrac Case Expense Funding Service, you're going to be outsourcing a vitally important accounting function to our team of experts here in Nashville, Tennessee. And speaking of our team of experts, joining us today as our special guest is Billie Hardison. And Billie has been with our team since 2012. She first joined our team on the accounting team. She then obtained her degree in IT and moved into a kind of an IT consulting role internally, overseeing the enhancements of AdvoTrac. And most recently now, she has taken on a new role of training specialist. Billie is a certified trainer by the Association for Talent Development. She has a bachelor's degree in information technology. She's also certified by Intuit as a QuickBooks Pro Advisor on both the desktop and the online edition. So Billie, thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment. So hopefully our pictures will get a bit larger on your screen now, I think. And so Billie, I gave an overview of some of the things you've been doing and working on. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you to walk us through AdvoTrac, the online client web portal. But as a trainer, certified trainer for Advocate, what kind of training do you do? What kind of things do you offer?
Well, like you mentioned, Mike, mostly I'm doing a training on our proprietary software, AdvoTrac. So this may be with a prospect that's interested in us. It may be a new client, or it may be a client that's changing admins. We do offer unlimited free training along with our services. And then also, like you mentioned, we do a lot of QuickBooks training, helping clients learn how to book the Advocate Capital transactions in their accounting software. So that's the bulk of what I do. I'm also pretty good with Excel, so I've helped walk a lot of clients through some Excel issues. So that's the bulk of what I do.
Right, and you blog for us. I've seen your Excel tips blog once in a while, so if you want to know how to do Excel better, check out our blog, and you'll see some of Billie's writings on there. I love that. I love to learn new shortcuts and new ways to do things more efficiently in Excel, one of my favorite softwares. But you do internal training as well, right?
I do. I onboard all of our new hire employees, which is fantastic. And then I do assist with internal training, whether it be AdvoTrac, QuickBooks, Excel, whatever is needed. And if I can't do it, I try to figure it out.
Fantastic. Well, hey, I'm going to change the presenter over to you and let you take our viewers through the AdvoTrac Case Expense Funding Service web portal online. There it goes. There's the portal, and I'll quit talking and let you drive.
Okay, sure. Well, I'll go ahead and dive right in. Guys, the page that you're seeing here, this account summary page, this is your default page when you log in. So when you become a client with us, you'll get log-on credentials via email. It'll ask you to set up your own password. Everybody at your firm has their own unique login. This account summary page is just general information. What you're going to see is your total approved line, your outstanding balance, outstanding finance charges, number of open cases you have with us, just very much at a glance information. And what you'll notice down here at the bottom, our lovely little spring icon here. This changes with each quarter because each quarter we implement several different AdvoTrac enhancements. So you may see the website change from time to time. And if you do see that, just kind of click here. It's going to redirect you to a blog that Tina Burns published once a quarter. And it's going to walk you through every change that you'll see on the web portal for that quarter.
All the enhancements.
This is very helpful. All the enhancements. That's
and so my business partner, I own Advocate, Dan Tossig and I, we are continuously investing in coding, in enhancements. We get great ideas from our existing customers. And Tina Burns, who Billie mentioned, is one of our VPs. And Tina is kind of our internal resource person that manages that process of continuous improvement on AdvoTrac. So I love reading the new updates. Every quarter we have some great new changes happening.
Excellent. So, and guys, as I'm walking you through this, just keep in mind this is a sample law firm, so this isn't any specific client. What you're going to see is test data here. So we'll go ahead and dive into the funding request tab. Now, these next two tabs are the interactive tabs. This is where you'll go online to actually process transactions. And the first one we're looking at here is the funding request page. So you'll notice it defaults to case funding. It defaults to open cases. One nice feature that you can opt into is our multiple bank account feature. So in this example, you'll notice there's 2 bank accounts listed here. And what you can do if you decide you want to use separate bank accounts for any reason, maybe you have certain cases you want deposited into one account, certain cases deposited into another. We do have that option. If you don't want that option, you will never see this and you'll never have to select it, but it is available. And if you do want to process the funding, what you'll notice down here is your entire list of cases that you have open with us at Advocate. So at any time you can log on and request additional funds for that case. In this example, we're going to select a case and enter a dollar amount. And then we have an optional memo field here. So a lot of our clients like to use this to categorize their expenses. Some use it, some don't, but you do have that optional field there. The pick list, you can edit. So say you are using that memo field to categorize your expenses, but you already have a preset list of descriptions for your expenses, you can create that here. You can add and, take these off, add them as you wish, hit OK. And then instead of keying in expert witness there, you can just select it from the drop down. So that kind of speeds things along for some people.
Yeah, and that was one of the ideas one of our customers had, right? It was the pick list option.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We get a lot of requests for our customers and we listen. So keep that in mind. And once you're done, once you're satisfied with what you've got here, you just hit add. And that'll start compiling a list for you down here. And what you'll see is your case, your dollar amount, memo, everything you just entered. You can do as many of these cases as you want in a single funding. Once you're satisfied, you agree to the terms and conditions and hit submit. It's going to give you a pop-up. It's going to say, are you sure you want to submit this for this dollar amount? If everything looks okay, you hit submit now. And so then you'll get a confirmation here that you just processed these 2 cases for this dollar amount. And that lets you know that everything was sent over to our accounting team. Our accounting team will get it. They'll process it. As long as we get it by 4 p.m. Central Time, they'll get it processed same day. And then those funds will be deposited automatically into the bank account that we have on file for you. Most of the time, we see that happen next day. It does depend on your bank, but it's almost always within 24 hours.
Right.
Okay.
So, Billie,
accounting.
Our viewers may notice the top paragraph on this page refers to something called a case substitution. Would you mind explaining what that is?
Sure. So case substitutions are commonly used with clients, especially if they, on that rare occasion lose a case. Instead of just paying off that case with us, you can actually basically transfer those funds to another case. So it's basically a payment and a funding, but it's all done in the same transaction for a net amount of 0, if that makes sense. So if you have questions about case substitutions, we can certainly explain that in more detail. Contact me with the training team contact information that we'll give you here in a little bit, and we can go into detail about that. Or contact your account manager. They're very well versed on case substitutions as well.
Great. Thank you.
Sure. So once our accounting department gets that process, just keep in mind that they're going to send you a transaction detail report that you can use to enter that transaction into your accounting software if needed.
Is that sent by email?
Yes, it is sent by email.
Great.
So remaining on the funding request tab here, we do have a couple other things to talk about. So if you are using this one-by-one method, if you ever have the need to reopen a case, you would go to close cases, select it, and then follow the exact same process. Now, this may happen if you've closed a case and for some reason maybe there's new evidence. You need to reopen it. That would be an example of when to do that. Add new case, same thing. If you're using this one-off method that I just showed you, you can add a new case just by simply keying in the name, entering the dollar amount, the memo field optionally, and then hit add and fund it the same way as well.
Great. Wow.
So let's talk a little bit about another option that we have here, which is the upload cases feature. Some of our clients have, upwards of 200 and 300 cases that they're working with at one time. And going in and funding these one by one may not be the method for them. So we do offer a very neat feature where you can upload a list. What we see most commonly is that our clients will somehow extract an Excel spreadsheet out of their software. Like if you have QuickBooks, there's a report you can run to capture all your expenses, and then you just turn around and fund them with us. So if you are able to do that and get that information in Excel, we can upload it. So the first thing you'd want to do is take a look at the template here. I'm going to download the template. And what you'll notice on this template is that case name and amount are your two required fields. Those are the fields we have to have in order to do this upload. But optionally, you can include memo and you can include case number if you use case numbers.
Right.
What I recommend is you just copy and paste that information over into this template. And then when you browse out to the file, select it, hit open, and there you go. You can see it's green, so it's going to accept that format. The only other thing we require is that you total the dollar amount of that spreadsheet and let us know here. We'll agree with the terms and conditions and hit upload. And it tells us our file has been submitted. So it's that simple when you have a large list of cases.
And you can help clients create that template or the list if needed out of QuickBooks?
Absolutely. We offer training on all of that.
Great. Now, Billie, if a client really doesn't want to do online funding like this, what other options are available to them?
So our accounting department is full service. If they choose not to use the online portal services, they can submit a spreadsheet to our accounting department. They can give a case list to our accounting department, and they can do the upload for them. They don't have to log on and do it this way.
Okay.
If they don't want to do this online, they can fill out a manual request for loan advance and fax it to us as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Right now, about 85% of our transactions for funding are done on the web portal, but we have 15% of clients who really just want to talk to somebody. They'll pick up the phone, email us, fax in the request, what have you, and we put that data in for you, so you don't have to do it if you don't want to. Now, Billie, can someone fund a case based upon what they think they might need for the case, or how to decide what to fund?
That's completely up to them. They can do that, but we highly recommend against it. We are more of a reimbursement program,
right,
as opposed to kind of estimating those charges, because you may end up eating some of that cost if you do it that way.
Right. So they should use it kind of as they spend money on cases each week, spit out from QuickBooks or what have you, what was spent that week, upload that, and there's your funding request, or just send it to us.
What we have found works best is that the client gets into a routine. Maybe they cut checks on Friday. They add one more step to that process and just go ahead and process that funding through us and reimburse for all those expenses.
And our customer service team, by the way, is available 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, from 7 a.m. Central Time to 6 p.m. Central Time. So if you don't want to use this web portal, you'll see it today, but you don't have to use it if you don't want to. You can just call us or email us.
Right. Excellent. So let's go ahead and move on to payments. We've got several options here. I'd like to start with the online payment. So this is where you're going to go when you've settled a case and you're ready to pay it off with Advocate. So on this screen, you'll notice a calendar here, and the highlighted date is tomorrow. So we do offer next day processing as long as it's prior to 3 p.m. Central Time.
Okay.
So for this example, let's go ahead and leave that at the default of the 25th. We're going to select a case here, put it in the queue. Again, we do offer that multiple bank account option for payments as well. So I'm going to go ahead and select one there, and I'm going to hit next. Now, it's going to give me a summary and say, you owe $12,000 on this case. If everything looks okay, you hit pay now. As soon as you hit pay now, that is going to automatically draft those funds from the bank account we have on file for you. You've got several reporting options here. I'm just going to show the detail because that has everything.
Okay.
And that's going to give me a payoff report. So this report, you'll get one with every payment that you make, and it's twofold. So the first section we're looking at here is what's due to Advocate. So a client is paying us off for this test case 004, and this is what they owe us. This is made up of principal, all the advances that the client has done on this case, as well as the interim interest. So they do pay those finance charges monthly. So all that's due today is the current month's interest for a total of $12.85, as you see here.
Kind of like a mortgage payoff.
Right, exactly. So if they had done 5 fundings, you would see all 5 of those listed here as well.
Got it.
So let's scroll down to the second portion, and this is our borrowing cost. So this report is kind of our value proposition in a nutshell. Every time you have paid an origination fee on a funding, every time you paid those monthly finance charges, we tally that up for you on this report. So this report is designed for our clients to just put right with their disbursement statement, hand right over to their client, and this is the interest that they can pass through. This $234.47.
Got it.
Yeah.
So everything our clients pay us, if the case is successful, can be passed through to the case.
Absolutely. That's correct. That 2% origination fee on every funding, that's going to be listed here for every single advance that they've done, and it's recoverable. Okay.
Got it.
Awesome. So let's look at another option here. This is a very commonly used report, the information only. What you're seeing here is a very similar screen. You can select a date. When we see this used most of the time is if a client, they're settling the case, but they know they're not going to get that check in the mail for another month. So they want to go ahead and, have an estimate to give to their client. So what they'll do is, let's say we'll just go ahead and go May 24th. We'll go out a month on this one. We'll select the case, put it in the queue, and hit next. You'll notice it says finish instead of pay now because we're not drafting anything from a bank account.
Okay.
And we have the option to print that exact same report. The difference you'll notice here is that your interim interest is calculated out to the 24th for you. Same on the borrowing cost report. So when you hand this to your client, you're going to go ahead and estimate out that interest for when you think you may get the check.
Great. But that doesn't actually create a payment of any kind.
That's correct. You still have to actually go process that payment through the online payment feature once you are ready to pay it off.
Sure.
Okay. Next, we have the principal pay down option. So again, we're looking at a similar screen here. We'll go ahead and select the bank account. We'll select the case. We'll put it in the queue and hit next. And now you'll notice a nice little box here. So this is where you have the option to pay any dollar amount you want down on a case. A lot of times I see this happen if a client gets a refund on an expense. Well, you don't want to keep accruing interest on that expense because you got the money back. So you can go pay it back to us and bring that principal amount down. So you just enter in the dollar amount, hit next, and then pay now. And once again, that'll automatically draft through the bank account we have on file. And you've got a confirmation here.
Right. That makes sense. Right. So if you get those expenses back, why keep paying interest on them? At least go ahead and use that reimbursement to pay down the case. Yeah, makes sense.
Absolutely. Especially if it's a large dollar amount. All right. So our last option here is the payoff upload. We see this feature used most of the time with, again, really large clients that have upwards of 200 and 300 cases, and they are settling so many cases they need to pay them off once a week or once a month. So once again, we have an import template that you can download. And as you can see from this template, the only thing that's required is case number and case name. And case number is optional. If you don't use case number, you don't have to enter that. So we just need the case name of the cases you want to pay off. So we'll go through in a little example of that. I'm going to browse out to a file I have on my desktop. I'm going to agree with the terms and conditions, and I'm going to hit upload. And now what the system is doing is it says, I looked through your spreadsheet, and I found all these cases here, but I didn't find them in AdvoTrac. I don't see that we have any of these cases in our system. So you have a couple options here. You can either say 104, I did not mean to enter that. That shouldn't have been in the spreadsheet. I'm going to exclude it. Or you can say, down here, case number 103, well, that's supposed to be test case 103. So you can either exclude or replace any of these. So let's go ahead and do that. You have to make a selection for each one.
Okay.
Continue to online payment. And what has happened, it's taken us back to this online payment screen here, but all your cases are filled in for you. So you can imagine if you have 100 cases that you're needing to pay off, how this could be extremely helpful.
Yeah, you don't have to go to that list on the left there and select them one at a time. You can just upload your
Exactly.
spreadsheet. Yeah.
Exactly.
I've always been
Um,
impressed how AdvoTrac will compare that list to what's in AdvoTrac. And like you pointed out, if it doesn't find that case in AdvoTrac, it'll point it out to you, let you make a change.
right. And it's going off of a name match. So if it's not spelled exactly the same, it won't find it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you just hit next, and then once again, you are following that same process of hitting pay now and getting your payoff report and all of that.
Great. And that idea came from a customer, right? To be able to upload a list of cases to pay off.
Once again, that idea did come from a customer. So
Right.
yes, we have smart clients.
We do.
All right. All right. So let's take a look at some of these reports here. You'll notice we've got quite a list here. Once again, Mike, almost half of these were probably requests from a client. I want to be able to see this, or I want to be able to see that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why a lot of these are on here. I won't go over all of these.
That's a
They're
big
pretty
list.
self-explanatory. So let's look at case balances, though. This is probably our most popular report used by clients.
Okay.
What a client will see here is their entire list of cases that they have open with us, the balance, the last time it was funded. If we scroll over, we'll notice of that balance, what's principal, what's unpaid finance charges, and then we can also see the borrowing cost so far on this case. This report's nice because our clients can export it to Excel, and they may want to do some analysis between AdvoTrac and their accounting software, kind of do some reconciling.
Yeah.
We found that to be very helpful. They can also drill down on any of these
Oh,
cases.
so you just clicked on
Yeah,
the case.
correct. Correct. Yeah. So for this case, this 439.54, you see exactly what makes that up. Our accountants really like this page because it's your debit and your credit. It shows the in and the out. So again, this is exportable to Excel and also PDF. Almost all of our reports are available in PDF as well as Excel.
So you can just save a copy of it, but Excel if you want to, manipulate the data somehow.
Exactly.
Great.
Exactly. So let's also look at another one here, just one more.
Okay.
Transaction summaries is a good one. So this report's nice because you can run it for any date range. Again, if you're trying to reconcile a quarter or a period, this is nice, or even a year, you can look at however much data you want for that time period. So in this example, the transaction summaries, I'm going to run it for a year, and I can see just on an account level basis all the finance charges that were billed, paid, all the principal, just
Ah,
kind of a breakdown for you. And then even more detailed, if I run the case transaction summary, I can see that same information broken out by case.
for a date range.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes.
And is that exportable to Excel as well?
This one, let's
Is that
see.
one
This
PDF
one's
only?
just PDF. This
Yeah.
one's just PDF.
Yeah, because in that format, I'm not sure how Excel would help.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So that's our reports. You can always link to our training tab, which I'm going to show you here in a minute, but these are some training tutorials related to these reports, but we'll look at those in a minute. So let's move on to the My Profile page. What you'll see here is just the firm's name, address. What's great about this form is if your address or even just your suite number changes, you can key it in here and hit send, and then it'll update all of the appropriate people here at Advocate to update our records. More importantly, or most importantly, I should say, on this tab is where you would go to change your password if you ever need to.
Okay, so yeah, so this is a user logs in, they want to change their password. Can you explain what happens if they click on the change password link?
Sure, it pops up a box and it asks for their current password. They key in their new, they confirm it, and voila, there you go. Their
I
password's
see.
changed.
Right online. Okay.
And what's great is it gives you those password complexity requirements right here so you know exactly what to enter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're going to skip the admin tab for now. We're going to do that last. Let's talk about the help tab. I'm going to
Okay.
start at the bottom here with the facts page. So what you'll see here is quite a list of frequently asked questions that we have gotten from our clients over time. If you ever are just very curious about something about Advocate Capital, feel free, or about AdvoTrac, feel free to go to this page and look around. If you hit Control F, it'll bring up a find box. So if you have a question about fundings, you can just type that in and see that there's 2 matches that say fundings. If we just say funding, there's
Control
20.
F, huh? Okay, cool.
Control F, that is the find feature, and that should work on any browser. We also have a contact page, so pretty self-explanatory. You're going to see the accounting team's contact information here, and you'll see your account manager's information here. When you become a client of Advocate Capital, you're assigned your very own account manager, and they're available to you at all times. So their information would be here. And we also have a nice little form. If you have a question, you can fill it out and send it to us, or you can just email this email address directly because that's where it goes.
Got it.
So let's talk about the training tab. This one's my favorite. So everything that we've just went over is pretty much available in a video tutorial and step-by-step PDF instructions. So when you become a client, you log on and you're ready to start running those reports. These will go into detail. If you want to pay off a case, this goes into detail on how to do that.
And we tried this the other day. I know it won't work very well, but can you just click on one of the watch video links? And
Sure.
we'll try it. Our viewers might be able to see a little of something, but on webinars, videos don't play all that well.
Right. So here's a video about 2-factor authentication. I'll hit play. And you can just kind of see. You may not be able to hear it, but
yeah, it moves kind
most of
of
them
frames.
start out.
Yeah.
And,
but it's narrated and everything. Yeah, just like as if we're doing a demo with you.
Right. Exactly. So it just kind of goes through all the screenshots, shows you exactly what to do.
Great, thank you.
And there's also the PDF instructions are available directly through the video link as well. You can just download those right here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We also have another section here. If you're a client that uses needles, we've got some helpful videos that relate to needles. How you would run a paid case cost report for us, how you would create a case expense ledger. Same with QuickBooks. Like you mentioned, Mike, I'm a QuickBooks Pro advisor. We have several here that can help our clients book these transactions in QuickBooks. But we do also have the videos. Some of our clients are visual learners and just want to watch a video. So when you do that first funding and you get your funding detail report and you want to book it in QuickBooks, maybe you're kind of lost, go watch this video. It's going to walk you right through it.
Or maybe you're working on the weekend and you can't reach us, or late at night, and these videos are available 24/7, right?
That's correct, yes.
And they can download the PDF instructions and print them out. I have them right there on their desk.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk about the admin tab here. So just one client or one person from each law firm can be the web portal administrator. That's typically a guarantor. They want to have the control over who can access the system and who cannot. This is just our way of enhancing security with the system. So that admin has the ability to create a user. And what they would do is they would just key in their email address, their first name and last name, and then they can completely customize the permissions here. A lot of our clients, or we see a handful of clients that will even set up their accountant. They use a third-party accountant. They'll set them up as a user and just give them access to reports and deny everything else. They don't want them doing payments or fundings, but they feel free to go look at all their reports. So that's something we see. Other clients have one person that's responsible for fundings, and that's it. So they may deny access to everything but just the fundings. But it is nice that it's completely customizable. We also have optional two-factor authentication. This is on a by-user basis. So if you're the admin and you do want to enable that, you would just check this box to enable two-factor authentication. And then it's going to ask which method, text or email. If you select text, You then have to key in the number.
And
Email,
what number
of
is
course,
that?
not required.
Whose number would that be, Billy?
That would be the user's phone number, because two-factor authentication is basically another layer of security. So when the user logs in, they're going to enter their email address and the password that they've created and set up, and then they'll get a message on the screen that says, "We've sent a text to your phone. Please enter the 6-digit code that it sent." So that user would then have their phone and enter their 6-digit text, or that 6-digit code.
Great.
With email, it works exactly the same way, except it emails the 6-digit code instead of texts it.
Great.
So that's two-factor.
Now, who knows people's passwords at our clients?
Nobody
Except
knows.
the user, right?
Except the user. That's correct. The admins don't know their user's password. We don't know anyone's password. We try to keep that as secure as possible here.
Right. So if someone called and said, "What's my password?" we couldn't answer that question, right? Because we don't want to know. That's a lapse in security. So only individual user. So when an admin sets up a new user, what happens to get that user in the system? Or
sure. So here they've set up a user. As soon as they hit create user, what that's going to do is send an email to this email address to Bob here, and then Bob's going to get a link. He'll click on that link. It's going to automatically direct him here to the AdvoTrac web portal and ask him to create his own password. So then going forward, he logs in with his email address and password.
Fantastic.
All right. So the modify user option here, let's say that, a client admin just set up Bob, and Bob has locked himself out of the system. What he can do is contact his administrator at the firm and say, "I'm locked out." The admin can then log in and they'll see this box is checked. They can unlock him just by checking that and hitting update. Or if he needs to change Bob's access, he can do that as well. Maybe he doesn't want him to do payments anymore.
Or he can delete the user too. Bob no longer works there.
He can delete Bob if Bob, decided to retire.
Right, there you go.
Lastly, on the admin tab, we have the security audit report. So what you'll see here is all the activity that the administrator does. So maybe you're an admin and you could have sworn you set up Becky, but you don't remember setting up Becky. You can go look at this report and see that you did, in fact, set up Becky. So this is just an audit log for you, basically. And it's much easier to read if you export it to Excel.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Great.
Right. So that's the web portal in a nutshell.
Wow. Thank you for taking us through it. Even though I'm part owner of the company, I don't get to see all these features all the time. It's very impressive. Most of them came from clients. So I'm going to take back, I think, the lead here, if that's okay. And all right, so if you want to take a test drive, what's really great is everything you saw Billy doing, you can test drive it yourself. If you want to do that, give us a call or an email. Your Director of Strategic Solutions will give you a test login with a test login password. So you can actually log in yourself, play around in there just like you saw it, share it with your staff, share it with your admin, things like that. That password expires once a week. So, after a week, you have to contact us again to keep that active or make that usable. Also, if you want to see what other law firms around the country are saying about the AdvoTrac Case Expense Funding Service, visit iloveadvotrac.com. And on that page, you will see over 100 unpaid testimonies. Actually, it's more than one page. It's 7 or 8 pages long. You can read as much as you want. You'll see some videos where clients are talking about what an impact it's made on their practice and help them achieve their goals. We also do regular, pretty much once a month, some kind of helpful webinar. So on our website, again, Advocate Capital, on the video link, you can scroll down the bottom. We have all of our recent webinars there for your use and viewing, and you will get an email with a link to a video of this webinar. So we make them all available as videos eventually. If you want to contact Billy, Billy can be reached at trainingteam@advocatecapital.com. Billy is one of several people who do training here, and if Billy's out, someone else will cover her for her and get back to you. The direct dial number for the training team is 615-577-1000. This is my contact info. Would love to hear from you. How can we do better, do differently? You want a different kind of webinar, or you have a question for me? That's my direct email address, or you can call our toll-free number and ask for me. I'm more responsive to emails than I am to telephone calls, generally speaking. So that is our content for today, but I want to open up to questions now. If you'd like to ask a few, and let me just take a look here and watch for a question or two. Okay. Are there limits as to how often funding requests could be made? Are there limits to that? Billy, can folks, are they limited by that?
They are not. If they want to submit a funding request every single day, they are more than welcome to. If they want to submit more than one a day, that's fine too. We recommend if you have 10 cases you want to fund, you can fund them all in one funding request. You don't have to do separate, but you are not limited to how many you can do a day. Yeah,
because we have some big clients. I have 7 paralegals, and they each do their own fundings. So I see the fundings come through for some clients more than once a day. Do you require your line of credit to be paid down to 0 once per year? I can answer that one. We do not. That's called a clean-out provision that many local banks have. We do not have that. We love for you to use us for all your case expenses all the time. And in fact, our very first customer from 1999 over in Knoxville, Tennessee is still a customer and has had a balance all these years. And we're happy about that. We know that paying your line to 0 really doesn't work for a contingent fee law firm. Let's see if we have other questions. Feel free to type your questions in the questions box. Okay, what is the Advocate Flex line? Okay, so the Advocate Flex line you may have seen on our website, and there's a great video at the top of the videos page. We have taken the AdvoTrac case expense funding service and made it even better. For some clients, if they qualify, they can use up to 1/3 of their AdvoTrac line or case expense line for working capital. So if they have a line for $300,000 and they qualify, they can use up to $100,000 of that line for working capital. And the pricing on that is prime plus 1 with a 1% annual fee. And this has been a huge development. We started this in 2016, and in 2016 alone, we grew 22%. A lot of it was because of the flex line. So right now, many of our clients enjoy that. They want to borrow for something other than case expenses, and the flex line lets them do that. Okay, other questions? Okay, who knows passwords? We talked about passwords already. Okay. Some of these are just repeats we've answered already. So, is your interest simple or compound interest? So our interest is simple interest. It is not compound. It is billed monthly in arrears. So at the end of the month, you receive an invoice for, broken out by case for the previous month. It's calculated daily. So if you fund up one day and pay down on another, it's adjusted automatically. But it is simple interest, not compound interest. Are there any prepayment fees? There are no prepayment fees on the line or on a case. So if you fund the case, you can pay it off the next day if you want to. You fund your line up, you can pay it off the next day as you wish. There's no cost for that because there are no prepayment fees. And how are there limits on how little or how much a law firm can borrow on a case? There are no limits. So you can borrow 25 cents on a case if you want to. You can borrow $25,000 on a case. We don't put limits on either the high end or the low end of that. We really leave it up to you, so you can just upload what you're spending and not worry about any kind of limits on that. Okay, great. Any more questions? Fantastic. Well, I think we're at the end of our presentation. I want to thank you very much for joining us. Billy, thank you so much for taking us through the web portal today.
Of course.
Yeah, it's been great. We hope to hear from you soon. We'll have another webinar for you next month. And until then, stay tuned, and we'd love to hear from you.